Hello. Good evening. Welcome to All Levels Yoga Friday night from the Hatha Yoga Center in Seattle, Washington. I'm Chris. And I'd just like to start with a little bit of breathing tonight. So just grounding ourselves a bit before we start to move. So find your seat. You might want to sit on something like a pillow or a yoga block. And find your long spine, lengthening up through the crown of the head, letting your lower body be heavy and grounded. You might bring your palms down, facing down onto your thighs to begin. And just let your shoulders slide down your rib cage. Let your shoulders soften away from your ears. The front of your chest is open. And just begin to feel the breath coming in and out through your nose. You could close your eyes and just bringing yourself into the awareness of your breath. Just kind of taking some time this evening to re-embody yourself. So taking some nice, comfortable, relaxed, balanced breaths in and out through the nose. Relaxing your face and your jaw, feeling how your head is balanced right on top of your shoulders, ribs over hips, feeling all the curves of your spine comfortable. And then you might bring your hands together at your heart. You could bow your head and set an intention for your practice tonight if you'd like. A breath. And then let's come to the front of our mat in a standing position. And we'll begin to move. So I'm going to bring the camera up a little higher. And just bring it up there. That looks good. So just coming to the front of your mat. And really grounding yourself again, finding your feet firmly planted on the floor and feel how your body is getting this rebound of energy, lengthening up, lifting up through the crown of the head, grounding sacrum, lifting your pubic bone, lifting your sternum, raise your arms up, reaching up and lifting your gaze. You might bend your knees a little bit, finding your long neutral spine. You can move a little bit, you don't have to be stuck, so keep a little flow of energy and breath. And just another breath here, lengthening up. And we'll come forward, long spine, hinging forward at the hip. And taking a few breaths in your forward bend. I'm just going to set my glasses down. Your feet are hip width, and you could spread your toes, lifting the arches of the feet, feeling balanced over the soles of your feet. You might move around a little bit to find balance, feeling the places where the sole of your foot is touching the floor. You might feel more weight in one part of your foot, and you can kind of even that out. And then we'll step the left foot back and bring the knee down, just coming into this low lunge, keeping yourself low to begin with. And taking a couple breaths here, keep lifting through your shoulders and your head. You might even lift your gaze. Letting the breath be nice and full and relaxed, powerful, being conscious of the breath throughout your practice. And then tuck your toes and step back up to downward facing dog. Spreading your hands, bending your knees, and just moving a little bit, bending into one knee and the other. Lifting tail. You could bend your knees a lot and bring them towards the floor and just pause in this position for a moment and then lift the hips. You could do that again, just bringing your knees down. Keep pushing into your hands, lifting belly, then lengthen up. And then we'll come forward, keeping the head lifted as you come forward into plank pose. So taking a couple breaths here in this plank shape. Really press into your hands and lift up, lifting up through the back of your head, lifting the navel towards the spine. And then you could drop your knees or just come down with your elbows by your sides onto your belly. And maybe Sphinx pose, just bringing the forearms onto the floor, elbows a little bit in front of shoulders. And you could move a little bit, kind of feeling the sense that you're drawing your belly and heart forward. Letting your breath be full, conscious. And then sweeping your arms back, clasping your hands at your sacrum, and rolling up. Taking a couple breaths here. And you could try rolling onto the left side. Let your head come back and looking up. Keeping the neck long, feeling your shoulder blades. Sliding down, and then coming to the other side. If that feels good, coming back to your belly again, lifting up, and release, and just rocking your hips side to side. And then making your way back up to downward facing dog. So you could come through prayer for a moment, and lifting your hips. And take a breath there. And we'll step the right foot up and over the left, lifting the right hip. Really wrap your elbows in, reaching through the right hand. And then stepping back through center, let's step the left foot up, bringing your left heel down, reaching through your left hand strongly, wrapping left elbow in. Steady breath, back to center. And then we're going to step the left foot forward, coming into this low lunge. So even though we're low, we're still lifting up in our upper body, so our back stays pretty neutral, long, and we're breathing. So working on grounding ourselves this evening in the middle of a lot of stuff going on in the world. Coming back to our own practice, to our own body, and stepping forward. So like returning home to our body to rebuild our reserves. And then on your next inhale, bringing the arms up. Again, really grounding the sacrum so that you can lift up. And exhale, bring the hands together at the heart. And just pause for a moment. And then we'll raise the arms again. Let's take your left wrist with your right hand and kind of help pull yourself into a side bend, keeping the hips square to the front and feeling length in the left side of your body. You could look up and then reaching for your right wrist with your left hand, looking up underneath your right arm, and back to center, and then coming forward again, hinging forward at your hip, long spine. Maybe let your head hang a little so the neck can release. You could nod your head yes, and shake your head no, just let it be relaxed. And then we'll step the right foot way back. Come into the lunge again, this time with the back knee lifted. So again, lifting up through your upper body, keeping the shoulder blades pretty tight up along the rib cage. And just another breath here. And then we'll step back again to downward facing dog. Just moving a little bit. You might take your left hand over to your right lower leg or ankle, maybe looking underneath your right arm. Keep sliding your shoulder blade down the rib cage. So you're not hunching up in the right shoulder, wrapping the right elbow in. Releasing that side, reaching with your right hand for your left ankle or lower leg. Maybe looking up underneath your left arm. And then bringing your hand back to center and just pause for a moment in your downward facing dog. And then exhale, come forward into plank again. Keep the head lifted. Hips come right in between the crown of the head and the heels. So not sagging down or lifting up too much. You could lift your left foot, keeping your sacrum level, and then your right foot. Breathing, gaze is forward, and release, and then coming through a push-up with the elbows by the sides, and up into a higher version of cobra. You can keep your thighs down, and feeling the belly stretching. Press into the floor and roll your shoulders back, lifting through the crown of the head, breathing. And then coming back, maybe through this prayer shape, tucking your toes and lifting your tail, coming back to downward facing dog. Steady breath here. And then let's step the right foot very far forward, so it's a really long lunge. And again, lifting your shoulders and the back of the head, so you're not rounding forward. Strong through your left leg, so pressing back through the heel. And still drawing this right hip back, even as you press into the big toe. And then we'll step forward. Coming into your forward bend again. Breathing, find your steady breath. And then swinging the arms up, reaching up. And exhale, bring the hands back together at the heart. And let's raise the arms again. Lengthen up. Exhale, come forward. Taking a breath there. And let's step back to downward dog. One leg at a time. Press into your hands, so feel the parts of your hands that are kind of lifted off the floor. So see if you can make contact with the whole palm of your hand. Then you might feel like there's a little bit of suctioning up of the palm. And then wrapping your elbows in and lifting your tail. So your shoulder blades can move. You're not stuck. And then come forward to plank. Keeping the head lifted and back to down dog. You might try that a couple times. Kind of like a seesaw. One more time. Keep the belly lifted. And then bringing your knees down. And let's do a couple cat-cow. So arching the back, inhale, rounding and exhale. Inhale, lifting tail, lifting head, exhale, rounding forward. And then just coming back to hands and knees. Tuck your toes, bring your hips back. And stretch the bottoms of your feet. So bringing some of the weight of your hips back so that you can do that. And then lifting the hips again. Downward facing dog. And then from here, let's step your right foot forward and come into this wide-legged forward bend. Just bending into one knee and the other, feeling the stretch in your inner thighs Just moving your shoulders and your elbows and your knees, hips, making it easy. And coming back to center, you could reach back and clasp your hands, stretching into your shoulders like this. Feeling your feet on the floor, noticing the places where the soles of your feet are making contact with the floor and where they're not. And then coming a little bit deeper into your forward bend, maybe reaching for the soles of your feet, lifting your tail, letting your head be relaxed. So do that nodding and shaking of the head. And maybe you could bring your hands back behind your head. Lengthen your neck. Give it a little traction. Releasing your hands. You could walk the hands forward, so now you're coming into this, what looks like a wide-legged downward dog. Again, wrapping the elbows in. And maybe you could reach your right hand over for your left lower leg or ankle, looking up underneath your left arm, drawing the hips back. I'm still wrapping the left elbow in, and then to the other side. Nice steady breath. And release. Walking the hands back in. And bending into your knees. Let's actually come up and let's do goddess pose or horse pose. So keeping this same alignment of the spine. So you're grounding sacrum, lifting up, coming straight down. The knees are tracking out over the toes. And we'll do some breaths here, strengthening our legs, inhaling up, exhale. Inhale. Feel your belly slightly drawing in. Strong legs. Inhale the arms up. Exhale down, coming a little deeper. Let's keep going. Strengthening the legs. Let's do 3 more, that'll be 10. Inhaling the arms up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale. And last one. Inhale up. Exhale. You can try lifting your heels. Ooh, that's hard. And then just straighten your legs, coming into the forward bend again. Just easing it out. And then again, coming back up to stand. We're going to turn the toes about the right foot towards the front edge of our mat, if we're using one. And just aligning the heel, like with the ball of the back foot. It doesn't have to be perfect, but finding some kind of alignment like that. And so we're keeping the hips open, reaching through our arms, and we're going to do triangles. So actually, let's clasp the hands behind us and take this core intensive version. So your hips start to head towards the back, like towards the back foot. So you're lengthening through the lower part of your torso, and you're using your hands to open your chest, to draw your shoulders down, and also to keep this core alignment strong and steady. Legs are strong. Breathing. Make sure the head's not coming forward. Keeping the neck in the same alignment with the rest of the spine. You could let go of your arms and just come into the kind of what we think of as the normal position of the arms in triangle. Palm is facing towards the front of the room. Hand might come down to the floor or maybe to the shin. Keeping that underneath part of your torso long, so not contracting. And then coming back up, use your center to come back up. Clasping your hands again behind you, bending into the right knee, and coming into extended side angle pose. So Again, the hips go back towards the heel. You can look back behind you. Again, using the hands to help open the shoulder. Nice steady breath. You could release the arms. The left arm's going to come up and over. Palm's going to turn towards the back of the room. Maybe the right hand comes down towards the ankle. And you're spinning your rib cage up, opening the left hip. And then coming back up. And then we're going to turn towards the front of the mat and come into Warrior One. So you're going to lift your back heel, bringing the arms up, bending into the left knee, hips stay square, slowly coming down towards the floor. So today is a full moon, so we're going to do this moon salutation. So first start by just coming into the lunge here. So keep lifting up. And then maybe you can draw your foot up, possibly. You might be able to bring your foot into the crook of your elbow. If that doesn't work, you can also just bring your hand back to your thigh or to your calf. Some people like to do the arm variation like this. Opening the chest. Woo. And then just releasing the foot. And then we're going to swing our hips back and come to sit on the heel. And coming into this forward bend. So it's, again, hinging forward at the hip with your long neutral spine. Toes of your right foot are pointing straight up. So some engagement in that leg. Try to keep your, if it's hard to sit on your foot, you can just bring it to the inner thigh and come into this variation. Your choice. And just taking another breath there. It's also possible to do splits if you want to take it further. So any one of those three options. And then we're going to bring all of us are going to bring the left foot into the inner thigh, reaching back towards our hip with the left hand and planting that hand, swinging the arm up and pressing the hips forward. And I would say look down at your left hand as you open up your chest. And then swinging that arm back around, coming back to the same position you were in. Steady breath. And then from here, we're going to come into a revolved lunge. So you're going to come back up. It's a little bit awkward, transitioning there. You're going to come back up into that deep lunge. And you can do, make sure your feet are hip width. You can do prayer hands. Or you can also bring your hand down to the ground and open up. So really strong in the left leg. The heel of your left foot is slightly turned in towards center and you're opening up your chest. Lifting just a little bit under your left thigh, breathing. Maybe looking towards the back of the room. And slowly unwinding. And then we'll step the back foot in. So find your pyramid legs. So again, feet are hip width. And you can have your hands anywhere along your right leg that allows you to keep this long spine. So find the breath. And we're going to revolve it. So we're going to open the right arm. Keep drawing that left hip back. Opening the chest, reaching, you can bring your gaze up, you can be straight ahead, just keep your neck long. And then unwinding. And let's add one more pose here, which will be a half moon pose. So bringing the right hand just out a few inches from the left, or the right little toe, bringing the weight into your right foot, and coming into Ardha Chandrasana, half moon pose. So opening your chest, flexing through your left foot. You might take a little of the weight out of your hand that's on the floor. Maybe you can look up. And then bring the hand back down, step back to your pyramid legs. Pause for a moment. And then we'll just turn towards the wide-legged forward bend. Finding the breath. Let's let our heart rate come back down if it's gotten into a more rapid state. Just bringing yourself back to a kind of a resting state before we do the other side. And then coming back up. And we'll turn the toes of the left foot towards the front edge of the mat. So really finding a long stance, the back foot and the heel of your front foot are, aligned. Then we'll reach our hands back and clasp the hands at the sacrum. So really find your feet on the floor. You're wrapping this right hip open as you come into the bend. So both hips are headed back towards the back heel. So long in your left, underneath side of your torso. Opening the shoulder. Could look up or straight ahead. Just keep the neck long, breathing. Maybe releasing the arms. Coming into this variation, opening up, reaching up, and then coming back up. Clasping the hands again, we'll come into extended side angle. So again, both hips are angling back towards your back heel. And we're in this core intensive variation, so gazing back, opening the chest, coming deeper into the bend of your front leg. Drop the belly in, breathing. Steady breath. You might release your arms, bringing the left hand down towards the left ankle and reaching up overhead with your right arm. So long line of energy from the sole of the outer edge of your right foot all the way up to your fingertips, opening your rib cage. Ujjayi breathing. And then releasing that and coming up, we're going to turn our hips and come into a warrior one. So bending your back knee, arms come up, coming straight down towards the floor with the knee, and finding this low lunge. You might reach back with your hand for the thigh, or maybe for your foot. Maybe lifting the sole of the foot into the crook of your elbow. Maybe taking this arm variation. Lots of possibilities. Breathing. And releasing that. And then our hips come back. So we have a couple options here, maybe like before, sitting on the heel and coming into this forward bend over the extended left leg. So feel for some engagement in your left leg. Your toes are pointing straight up. Keeping that long spine, hinging forward at the hip, breathing steadily. If that's too much on your knee, you can always come into this variation. Or, of course, there is the splits. So choosing whatever is right for your body right now. And staying with your breath. Just one more breath here. And then we will all come into this variation with the sole of the left foot into the, the sole of the right foot into the left thigh, bringing your right hand back, planting it right by your hip, and lifting up into this back bend. So the sole of the left foot is pressing into the floor. You're getting some leverage. Also out of the arm, you can look down at your hand, pressing the hips forward, opening the chest. You can turn the palm of your hand towards the back of the room. And then sweeping the arm back around, coming back to this starting position here. And then we're going to transition into the revolved lunge. So, doing your best to come up in some kind of graceful transition. Your feet are hip width. And then you might take your hands into prayer and reach back strongly through your right heel. Lifting a little under your right thigh. Perhaps looking back behind you as you open the chest. Steady breath. And slowly releasing, stepping the back foot in. Toes are angled out towards the edge of the mat, and your feet are hip width. Finding pyramid, which is long, straight lines. So the straight lines of your legs and of your back, torso. Taking a couple breaths there. You can bring your hands up anywhere along the left leg that allows you to stay with a neutral spine. So if you have to round forward, just bring your hands up higher, lift your shoulders and head, lift your tail, and we'll twist it. So perhaps your right hand is just right down by your left foot, and you're opening the chest. So it feels a little like you're drawing your inner thighs together. And the belly's drawing in as you twist. Strong legs. Feeling the soles of your feet. Maybe take a tiny bit of the weight out of your right hand. And then bring that arm down. We're going to come into half moon pose, just like we did on the other side. So we're going to bring our left hand just a few inches out from the little toe of our left foot, using that arm to steady us a little as we open our chest, flexing the right foot, stacking your hips. You could look up. I'm going to keep looking down, but you could look forward or look up. Keep your neck long in any case. Opening your chest. And releasing that, bringing the foot back down through pyramid. Pausing. And then turning into your forward bend. And let it be restful, just moving a little, kind of letting go of that whole series of poses that we call the moon salutation. And then from here, let's turn towards the right foot, step back to downward facing dog, and feeling the kind of the evenness of your body here, just kind of bringing it back to the centered position. And then we'll lift the right foot. You could come up onto the ball of your left foot, press up through your heel, and then bending your right knee and opening the hip, and then straightening back up, coming to center, and drawing that knee forward for pigeon. So taking your time to get there, the knee, of course, is angling out towards the edge of the mat to feel that opening in the rotators, making it just right for yourself, finding the breath. You might bring your hands, palms down, and just relax them. Noticing the tendency to do things with the hands or jaw, just letting it all be relaxed and breathing into this deep opening of the hip or sensation in the hip. So just letting yourself breathe here. And then walking your hands in, let's get a little quad stretch here. So lifting your left foot if you can, reaching back for the foot, spinning your fingertips and drawing the heel towards the buttock. Really press into your right hand and lift up. So that's a big stretch of your quads. And the hip flexor. Flexors on the left hip. If that doesn't feel good, then you could just reach for the ankle like this. Taking another breath or two there. Keep lifting up out of the floor. And then release that. And then let's step back up to downward facing dog. And just even yourself out, just coming back to some sense of symmetricality in your body for a moment. And then we'll let the left leg lift up, maybe coming up onto the ball of the foot, pressing up through your heel, then opening your hip, stacking the hips and bending the knee, and then straightening back up and drawing that knee forward for pigeon on this side. Setting yourself up, coming forward, and breathing. So keeping the spine long and the breath flowing. Maybe relaxing the hands. So feeling how you kind of can move your hips around until you feel like you're in just the right spot where the sensation is pretty clear and you're feeling the pose. Kind of not letting yourself off the hook in that way, but also with the breath, you're finding the right place to be. You can always walk your hands back a little so you're not quite so deep with your body weight too, if that feels like too much. We're not trying to bring too much weight in if it doesn't feel good or feel right. And walk your hands back in. So you might plant your left hand, reach back for the right foot. You might stay here, or you could maybe bend that knee and spin your hand so the fingers come around the tops of the toes. And you're bringing the heel towards the buttock and feeling that big opening in the front of the leg, hip, breathing. And then slowly releasing that. And then we're going to step back up to downward facing dog. And again, just finding your evenness in the pose. And then from here, try lifting the right foot again. And then maybe you could lift your left hand up and bring it to your sacrum or right alongside your torso, really wrapping in the right elbow so that your shoulder stays safe, your right shoulder. Press through the right heel, and then replace your left hand, bring your foot down. And then we're going to lift, the left leg straight up. Really press into your left hand, wrap the elbow in, steady yourself. Maybe lifting right hand to your sacrum. Just noticing the difference between the two sides. And release the hand, bring the foot back down. Bringing your knees down. You can bring your knees a little bit wide, like the width of the mat. Just come into like a child's pose for a moment. A wide-kneed child's pose. So lengthening the spine, resting for a moment. And then let's try dolphin pose. So bringing your elbows the width of your shoulders. You can clasp your hands. It's a little easier on the shoulders, or just bringing your palms facing down. So try to turn the backs of your hands towards the floor and keep that kind of that openness in the chest as you just move your forearm to bring the palms down. So you're not rotating your shoulders forward. Tuck your toes, lift the hips. Walk your feet in a little, and bend the knees. And you might slide forward and back. Not too far forward, just feeling the right amount of body weight and range of motion to build strength, but not to strain the shoulders too much. And then bringing your knees back down, just relax for a moment. Releasing your shoulders. And then let's try a forearm plank. So we'll come forward to the forearms and the knees, and then we'll step one leg at back at a time. So shoulders are right over the elbows. The hips aren't too high or too low. Keeping the head lifted, breathing. Really cinching your belly in. Breathing. A couple more breaths. And letting the hips come down and coming into Sphinx again. Just moving a little bit. And making this little shelf, rocking your hips. Relaxing onto your belly. You could lift your feet up and just let them kind of circle around in one direction, and the other. And then let's come back up into this cobra pose. So sliding the hips forward and kind of pressing into the hands and lifting up. Opening the chest, finding the breath. You might bend your knees. And then straighten your legs. Just another breath. And then lift the hips. Come back again into a counter pose. Lengthening your spine. And sliding forward again onto your belly. And let's bring your left leg right on top of the right. Squeeze the knees together. So cross your legs, sweep the arms back. You can just turn your thumbs up and open your chest. And then change the cross of the legs. Again, squeezing your knees together. Lifting up. And release, rocking your hips. And then let's bring the hands underneath the shoulders and come back up to downward facing dog. So lifting up. Just taking a couple breaths here in good old downward facing dog, a base pose. And then let's walk forward to the hands, coming into a forward bend. Feet are hip width. If it feels safe for your back, you could bend your knees quite a bit and clasp your elbows like this and kind of sway a little bit side to side. Only if that feels safe for your low back. Let go of your head. And then release the hands. You could bring your hands underneath the soles of your feet and step on the palms of your hands so the toes kind of come up the wrists. You can bend the knees a lot. Maybe straighten the legs, but you could keep them bent too. So you're kind of stretching into the wrists and the hands. And then release that. And maybe stretch your hands this way if you can reach the floor like that. You can bend your knees a lot too. And then let's maybe make your feet a little wider. Come down into a squat. So bringing your hips down, pushing your knees out. You might bring your hands into prayer. Keeping that long spine, so it's a lot of flexion at the hip and ankle joint, your knee joint. And then maybe you could kind of tuck the right shoulder into the right knee and come into this twist. So using your right knee for leverage. Opening your chest. And then releasing that side. Tucking your left shoulder into the thigh or the knee. And opening the arms. And releasing that. And then let's come forward into crow. So bringing your hands about the width of the mat, probably, so a little wider crow. And you're going to bring the knees right up onto the elbows. And still kind of feel like you're lifting in your belly, drawing in towards center. And then you could kind of widen, and maybe draw it in, coming back down, just take a break, back in your squat, and then coming back to your forward bend, bringing the feet back to hip width. And then coming up, let's step right foot over left foot and come into a forward bend with your legs crossed. So keeping your long spine and your steady breath as you do this. So feel the feet on the floor. And then coming up and stepping with the left foot over the right. So keeping both sit bones reaching back. And then coming up and uncrossing your legs. Let's do a standing back bend. So bring your hands back to the sacrum. Feet can stay hip width. Lift the heart, press into the sacrum. You're kind of pressing the hips forward as you're lengthening up, like you're going to watch the stars. Taking a couple breaths there, drawing your shoulder blades back, opening the chest. And release that. And just ease it out a little. And coming back up. And we'll do one more. This time you might clasp the hands and open the chest. Lift the heart, pressing hips forward, so big arc of the spine. And releasing. And again, just easing your hips out. You could make your feet a little wider and do what we call the Ichiro stretch here. So you press into your left knee and kind of take a little twist. And then into the right hand, into the right knee, opening the chest. Back and forth. And then let's come to a wall, or we have the bar here, but let's do a 90 degrees at the wall or the bar, and then maybe a handstand. So, I don't know, I think I might need to turn the camera a little bit if I'm gonna use the wall. No, you can see it. So, we're just gonna come up to the wall, We're going to be a leg's length away from the wall and planting your hands shoulder width and then walking up the wall. So you're in a 90-degree position. Maybe lifting one leg. Let your neck be relaxed. And then try the other leg. And releasing when you're ready. Just coming down. Alternately, you could also scoot your hips up to the wall and lie with your legs up the wall. So another option, if you don't choose this, you could also do a handstand at the wall. So, or you can stay on your back with your legs up the wall. So handstand at the wall, you hopefully have a place in your house to do that. So bringing your hands pretty close to the wall, like a foot away maybe, and kicking up. And I'm just taking a little rest after. If you're not already resting, maybe coming into prayer. And then I'm going to get my mat, pick up my mat, and set it out of the way. We're going to come onto our back. Also, I know a lot of people have balls at home. So if you have one of our miniature basketballs available, we're going to come onto our back, and let's start with a ball. So bring the ball underneath your upper back. We'll just roll up and down the spine. So supporting your head with your hands. Staying with your nice deep breath. And just using the ball to give yourself a little massage. You might come to the side, underneath the arm. To the lats. You could also come and bring the ball right underneath the back of your head. This can make you a little sleepy, but it feels really good. Just turning your head in one direction and the other. I want to make sure that you can actually see me. Yeah. All right. So if you have the ball under your head, like this, you can turn the head from side to side. Kind of pressing into that part where your neck and your skull come together, into that ridge. There's lots of muscles there. They can get kind of tight. You might feel one side more than the other. And then bring the ball underneath your sacrum. And you might bring your arms down by your sides and just tucking and tipping your pelvis. So you feel your lower back lengthening and then arching, just a small movement. So you're just moving the pelvis. And so somewhere in the middle there is kind of your neutral place. So press the tailbone into the ball and lift the legs up. If you don't have a ball, you don't have to do this with a ball underneath you, but it makes it a little bit easier to find this angle of your spine. And so you could bring your arms just out to the sides. We'll start with one leg at a time. So toes slightly turned out. Inhale the heel down towards the floor. Exhale back up. And then the other leg. So a couple more times with one leg. And then we'll switch to two, keeping the heels together, toes turned out, heels towards the floor, and back up. So inhaling down, exhaling up. So before you come back up, pressing your tailbone into the ball. Let's do it 2 more times. Maybe the next time you could pause with your legs out, drawing the belly down and lengthening the belly, pressing through the heels, and then back up. And just draw the knees in towards the chest. You can roll around on the ball a little bit. And then let's bring our feet down and walk them out, and you'll want the ball in the right spot underneath the sacrum. Lower on the back. And just stretching in this is like a passive hip opener, front of the hip opener. So just draping over the ball. Feeling the breath. It's a nice position for breathing because your chest is quite open. You can really feel the breath like expanding the rib cage. And then walk your feet in. And let's take the ball underneath your left outer hip muscles, the rotators. You can also, I like to take my ankle up on top of my knee. And this can be done with your back down like that, or you can also come up like this and rest on your hands. So feeling into those muscles in the back of the hip. Circling around that area, feeling into the tight spots that feel like they need a massage. You might find that one little spot and just stay there for a moment. And then maybe coming onto your side and rolling down that lateral outer edge of your thigh, that tight band of tissue, the IT band, iliotibial band, rolling up and down. You don't have to put all your body weight into it, just feeling what feels right for you. Maybe rolling over, bringing your right knee forward, and getting into your quads. Breathing, keeping with your breath and your long neutral spine. It takes a minute to let yourself kind of allow the ball into the quads. It's an intense kind of sensation, but it feels pretty good after a few breaths. You start to groove. And then we'll release that side, and then we'll bring the ball underneath the right rotators, outer hip muscles. Just going to bring the camera down a little bit, so rolling into those muscles. Hang on one second. Sorry for the disruption. It'd be a little better if it was down a little lower, maybe. So continuing to roll into those muscles of the outer hip. And then maybe into that IT band. You can regulate how much weight, body weight you're going to put into the ball, so just kind of using your hands for that. And then turning so that your left knee comes forward and you're bringing the ball underneath the front of your right thigh, into the quads. Rolling up and down. You can go across the fibers of the muscle. It's a little more intense. So taking your time, finding the right amount of pressure. Sometimes if we put too hard of a ball or too much pressure, then we can really tense up against it. But that resistance, we can work with it with our breath. So finding the right amount of pressing and the right amount of rolling body weight into the ball. And then just coming back and off the ball. Let's do frog pose real quick. So you might start with your feet together, your thighs apart, keeping your long spine. And then you could also experiment with bringing the feet out so the ankles are on the floor there. And the soles of your feet are flat, or the ankles are flexed. And then bring the hips forward and the legs together. Just rocking your hips a little, letting it go. And then let's use the ball into starting with the forehead and just rolling into the temples, feeling all those tense muscles in the face and the jaw. Coming across the forehead, ironing out your wrinkles, and over to the other temple and jaw, maybe even on the eyebrows a little bit. And then you can bring it down into your sternum, just kind of above the breast area, so you're in the pectoral muscles, bringing some weight in there. And that should feel pretty good. You might come into the front of the shoulder, cross right underneath the collarbone, over to the other side. And then maybe just stay in the center for a moment, lifting your hips, kind of feeling the weight of the body coming over the ball this way. And just set the ball down off to the side. And let's come on to our back. And we will come into bridge pose. So press into your heels, lift your hips up. You might be able to tuck one shoulder at a time underneath, keeping the natural curve of your neck there intact. So you might have to untuck it a little. Pressing into your hips and lifting up into the heels, lifting the hips. Kind of feels like you're moving towards tucking your pelvis. Come up onto the balls of the feet. And then let your arms be released and slowly roll down, one vertebrae at a time. Draw the knees in. Rocking a little side to side. And then maybe one more real energetic pose, which would either be coming back into your bridge pose, like we just did, or you could also come up into a back bend full wheel, maybe on the balls of the feet, opening the chest, moving a little bit with the breath. And then coming down again, and drawing the knees in. And then let's take the left ankle on top of your right knee. And just take your hand right into the upper thigh and just kind of press it away if that feels okay for your low back. For me, it's a little bit of decompression of the low back. And then maybe you can reach in and reach back for your thigh, pressing your left elbow into the knee, rocking a little bit side to side. And letting your left foot come all the way over, so you're in a twist with the sole of your left foot coming to the floor. You might reach for that with your right hand, for that ankle. So the right hand is on the left ankle. And you might even kind of push the knee away, so that kind of opens up an interesting feeling in your left hip. You can also reach for your right foot if you want, if that helps you or does anything for you. For me, it doesn't really. I feel like I'm better off just staying here with my shoulders on the floor, opening my arm. So it's a twist. You're still maybe holding the ankle. If you can't reach the ankle, then just bring your arm out. There's lots of ways to twist. And then just coming back up and switching legs. So you're bringing right ankle on top of left knee, flexing your right foot, and maybe pressing a little into the upper thigh on the right side, and kind of rocking back and forth. So you're decompressing your low back and hip a little bit there. Then maybe reaching through for the back of your thigh, pressing your right elbow into right knee, rocking a bit side to side, and then maybe rocking all the way over so the sole of the right foot comes down to the floor, maybe reaching for the ankle with your left hand. So you're in this kind of interesting twist here. Maybe pressing the knee away from you will open up a little more sensation in the right hip, as long as that feels beneficial. Breathing. Just feeling how your heart rate is now probably more at a resting state. Nice and calm, the breath is flowing more gently perhaps. And then just bringing yourself back up and uncrossing your foot off of your knee and then rocking side to side. Let's find happy baby pose. So keep pressing the tailbone back towards the floor, reaching for the soles of your feet. You can reach for the outer edges and just rocking side to side. If for some reason that doesn't work for your body, you can also reach back for your thighs. Feels kind of good to go side to side maybe, just like a baby. It's kind of massaging the low back. And then releasing the feet, and again just drawing the knees in. And then bringing the soles of your feet together and bringing them down to the floor. So you're in a reclined cobblers or bound angle pose. You can also reach for your ankles and open the chest in this position. So the hands come underneath your shins, kind of under the ankle. Keep pressing your feet together, and then you can tuck your shoulders underneath. So you're in this kind of like a combo of like fish in your upper body, where you're lifting the chest, pressing into the upper arms, and cobbler's pose in your lower body. It's a little bit of a back bend, chest opener. You can also just keep your arms up above your head, clasping elbows for a moment. And then we'll just slowly extend our legs and bring our arms down by our sides, and just coming into this final resting pose, Shavasana, or corpse pose, on your back. So just staying there and letting your body surrender to gravity. Letting yourself be very heavy. I'm going to come to seated position, but you can stay in your corpse pose. Just letting your body settle back towards the floor. Feeling very heavy, feeling the full weight of your body on the floor. Just allowing yourself to soften and letting your head be heavy, your jaw stays relaxed. Maybe your eyes are closed and you can feel just the gentleness and softness in your eyelids, your jaw and cheeks. And then just a couple more breaths there, just noticing any changes in your body that have occurred during this last hour and 15 minutes of practice, letting things kind of integrate body, mind, and spirit. You might, as you're here on your back, you might just pause to recall if you set an intention for your practice today. You could pause to recall that intention. And then beginning to roll over onto your side, let's say rolling onto your right side, and just making your way back to a seated position. Perhaps you're sitting up on a cushion or sitting on the floor, finding your long spine. Feeling, again, we started in this position, so we're just coming back to our seat, finding the spine and the breath. Feeling how you're really grounded and you're also really lifted. So there's this whole duality of sinking and lifting. Kind of pulling the energies from below and above. And then you might bring your hands together at your heart, just gently pressing your palms together. And bowing your head to your own practice, your own inner teacher, your higher self, and your higher power. And namaste. Thank you for your practice and for supporting the Hatha Yoga Center during these times. It seems like we're moving towards opening up in the state of Washington, so hopefully we'll be able to be together in real life soon, although we'll continue to live stream our classes. And of course, we appreciate your financial support, donations, class purchases so very much. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you.